retiring Senator Tom Harkin, a Democrat of Iowa, decided to really tell it like it is, probably since he's on his way out. Now, he's always been pretty good, but we're really getting the raw truth now that he's leaving. So in a recent interview with The Hill, he said that he's pissed that Obamacare is not single payer. He said the following, quote, "We had the votes in 2009. We had a huge majority in the House. We had 60 votes in the Senate. We should have passed single payer right from the get-go, or at least put a public option, which would have simplified a lot." He continues, "We had the votes to do that, and we blew it. We had the power to do it in a way that would have simplified healthcare, made it more efficient, and made it less costly, and we didn't do it." Wow. So finally, we have a Democrat who is involved with the situation coming out after the fact and saying exactly what we were saying the entire time, what progressives were screaming from the beginning, that you have the votes for single payer. Why are you not pushing for single payer? Or at least, like he says, why not start with single payer, and then if some blue dog Democrats, for example, won't go for it, okay, you twisted our arm, I guess we'll do the weaker reform of a public option. But they didn't do any of it. Why didn't they do it? Because they didn't want it. Because the Democratic Party is very similar to the Republican Party in the sense that they are also bought by the same special interests. The health insurance companies don't only give money to Republicans, they also give it to Democrats. So what did we get from the Democrats? We got a very pro-corporate reform, pro-insurance company reform. We have a system now where you are mandated by law to give business to the insurance companies. You have to buy on the private market. And understand, this is why this original reform came from Nixon. He's the first one who proposed something like this. Then later on, the Heritage Foundation, which is a right-wing think tank, basically wrote policy papers where they laid out a plan that they're in favor of, which is very similar to this. Newt Gingrich and Chuck Grassley at the time supported it. Then you had Bob Dole, who this was similar to his plan in the 1990s. And then now you have Obama and the Democrats, who by 2009, the Democrats had shifted far enough right, because the Republicans also shifted right, that the Democratic position in 2009 was what the Republican position was in the 1990s. So we got healthcare reform, and understand any healthcare reform at all was a step in the right direction, because our healthcare system was just a fucking joke. I mean, 45,000 people dying every year because they don't have access to basic healthcare, pre-existing conditions excluding people. I mean, the stuff that was allowed, so it's definitely a step in the right direction, but it was the smallest step you could possibly make in the right direction. It was a Band-Aid with a little bit of ointment on it being put on over a gangrenous open wound. And here we have a Democrat who says, look, we had the votes, we didn't do it. And I'll tell you guys, when you look at the numbers, when you look at who their donors are, you know why the Democrats didn't do it. They didn't want to do it. See, the Republican Party, they are by and large crazy and stupid and 100% bought off by special interests. And the Democrats, they're not crazy, but they play the game. They play the political game. They're part of the establishment, they're part of the elite, and they're like 80% bought off. So this is why you very rarely get real legislation that's in favor of the people, that's exactly in line with what we want, that's truly progressive, which the opinion polls, of course, show that on most issues the American people are progressive. So there you have it, man. You have somebody involved with the debate and the negotiation saying we could have had single payer, we had the numbers, we had the votes, all we needed to do was want to do it, and we could have done it, but we didn't do it.